Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are very upset at South Park for pointing out that they desperately seek our attention in the limelight while simultaneously demanding their privacy. Apparently, she's been moping around for days. They even might sue. Very sad. Anyways, Don Lemon got in big trouble for saying Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime. Very sexist. In a very shocking twist of events, Rosie O'Donnell had a great take on what's going on in Ohio. I actually agree with everything she said, and no, I'm not being sarcastic. And then we're going to Des Moines today for our What's Good Wednesday story. My name is Alex Clark, and this is Politics. I cover pop culture and entertainment news from a conservative perspective, and since every pop culture outlet is rotted with left-wing propaganda, you should thumbs up this video and subscribe to this channel.
You're safe now.
Prince and Princess Crybaby. Prince and Princess Crybaby are having their lawyers look closely over a new South Park episode making fun of them to see if they should sue, which of course would just make everyone hate them more. Harry and Meghan wanted to become a part of pop culture, but Meghan was imagining the Diana brand. Instead, every day they look more and more like court jesters who exist solely so people can have a laugh.
It's the Worldwide Privacy Tour. Come on, we want privacy. We want privacy. It's the Worldwide Privacy Tour.
Allegedly, Prince Harry desperately tried calling the producers of South Park before the latest episode aired in an attempt to have it blocked, but the producers simply refused to take his call. No one respects Harry anymore because everyone knows he's a weak loser.
So you hate journalists? That's right. And now you wrote a book that reports on the lives of the royal family. Right. So you're a journalist. We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard. Isn't it true, sir, that your questionable wife has her own TV show and hangs out with celebrities and does fashion magazines? What are you suggesting? Well, I just think some people might say that your Instagram-loving wife actually doesn't want her privacy. How dare you, sir? My Instagram-loving wife has always wanted her privacy!
They weren't named in the episode. The only thing they could do is try to prove that this parody hurt their brand in some way and that they lost money. But there is something deeply unlikable about someone who doesn't have the ability to laugh at themselves, and that is certainly Harry and Meghan's case. They're unfunny, cringe, and they take themselves way too seriously.
Trying to make ourselves into a brand just turned us into products. We don't need to be a brand, do we?
The irony is that in the midst of trying to take down the royal family and gain sympathy, Harry and Meghan have managed to make the popularity of the royal family skyrocket in the UK, while they've become a laughingstock of the world. After getting in trouble and prohibited from being on the air for sexist comments about Nikki Haley, Don Lemon was allowed back on air today.
She says people, politicians or something are not in their prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you talking? Wait.
That's not according to me.
Prime for what?
It depends. I mean, it's just like prime. If you look it up, if you Google when is a woman in her prime, it'll say 20s, 30s, and 40s. I don't necessarily.
40s. Oh, I got another.
I'm not saying
decade.
I agree with that.
According to CNN, Don Lemon had to go through a bunch of sexual harassment training type stuff afterwards, but the Daily Mail says angry female staffers at CNN issued an ultimatum over Don Lemon's comments and threatened to quit if they keep him on the air. I hope he realizes that they're trying to push him out. Like, they want to totally gut that network and start over, and that would mean dropping dead weight like Don. On a personal level, I wasn't offended personally by what he said. I thought it was stupid. He was obviously trying to be edgy, but instead he came out very hypocritical, especially because we all know who he voted for in 2016, and she's way past her crime. Okay, that said crime on the teleprompter, but it was definitely supposed to say prime, but either works. Never in a million years did I think I'd be saying this, but I agree with Rosie O'Donnell.
It's Friday all day, as my Nana would say. And I've been reading all the news reports on this horrible train derailment and chemical spill, toxic poisoning in Ohio. And fish dying, and chickens dying, and animals getting sick, and people feeling sick. And then the EPA comes out with a very non-alarmist, everything's okay, don't worry about a thing statement. And it's infuriating. I don't trust the EPA. I don't trust them. After 9/11, I don't know how anyone could. 9/11, they said it was safe to go back downtown to the World Trade Center. And it wasn't. There was no cleanup. There was dust everywhere, toxic, horrible, cancer-causing. And they lied to the American people. I don't believe the EPA. I think what's happened there is like Love Canal, or it's like 3 Mile Island, where there's poisoning. They've poisoned hundreds of thousands of people. Their lives ruined. Ruined. They say, well, if I was someone, I heard a reporter say, if I was there, I'd pack up my kids and go. Well, you know what? Not everyone can do that. They don't have anywhere else to go. People are living month to month, week to week. They don't have stored up reserves to go stay in a hotel for 2-3 months, a year. Fact is, they're going to have to leave that town. And, you know, the water supply, it goes to so many states. This is like a tragedy of epic proportion. And it's criminal negligence by that chemical and train company. And nothing's being done about it. It's not on the news enough. It's not something that people are talking about. It's like being pushed to the back burner. And it's like so many deaths are going to occur from this. I don't know. It's so depressing to me. So depressing. I was watching Jon Stewart speak on it here on TikTok, or maybe it was Instagram. He's so smart, that guy, and he's done so much for 9/11 first responders, and he really is an intellectual, and boy, is he able to sort of spoon feed it to you so you understand, you know? And I appreciate him for all he's done. I love his stance politically, and I love who he is as a humanitarian. And go on his TikTok and look what he said. It's tragic. TikTok, you don't stop. So sad.
I mean, even a broken clock is right twice a day. I agree with everything she has to say about Ohio right now. The poor mayor of East Palestine would probably say he does too after being totally screwed over by our president.
With the president being in Ukraine today, you know, did that surprise you?
Absolutely. That was the biggest slap in the face. That tells you right now he doesn't care about us. So
agreed.
He can send every agency he wants to, but I found that out this morning in one of the briefings that he was in the Ukraine giving millions of dollars away to people over there, not to us, and I'm furious.
On President's Day in our country.
Yeah, President's Day in our country. He's over in Ukraine, so that tells you what kind of guy he is.
I hope the people of Ohio remember this in 2024.
Oh, trust me, I will.
Bundle up, baby. We're going to Des Moines, Iowa to see what's good. What's good? According to the New York Post, a high school student and several strangers jumped into action to save an elderly man and his dog after his car fell through an ice-covered lake. 83-year-old Thomas Lee and his 6-year-old dog Cooper were heading to his son-in-law's fishing shack when his Jeep plunged through the ice into the frigid waters. 17-year-old Joe Salmon, who was ice fishing with his mother and watching snowmobile races nearby, called 911 and jumped into the water without hesitation to help as the vehicle began sinking. The glass shattered, and Salmon was able to grab Cooper from the back. The video shows Salmon picking up the dog and tossing him into the water before the other man pulled him to safety on the solid ice. Lee's foot had gotten stuck between the driver's seat and the center console as the water rose to his waist. The elderly man was taken to the hospital, but luckily, he and Cooper the dog were not injured. Salmon was treated at the scene for some minor cuts from the broken glass and got some dry clothes from the store, and then he just went back to ice fishing and caught 2 fish like a Midwestern G.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
What do you think? Would Meghan and Harry actually get anywhere with a lawsuit against South Park? Isn't it like an American honor to be made fun of on that show? Seems a wee bit potty poopery. Thumbs up this episode, subscribe to this channel. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. It's pop culture without the propaganda, Monday through Thursday. I'm Alex Clark, and this is Poplitics.